I'm building a $1 billion company coming out of college called Lectra, and I'm planning on going on Shark Tank, and I'm crossing all the steps to make it happen. I've pitched all over the country, being in 8 cities in 7 weeks, and even getting funding from the Best Buy founder. Even better, I've documented the entire journey over the last 3 years. And for everyone who has a new idea for a business, there's one thing you have to get down if you want to get funding. That's the pitch. And just like doing your own taxes, that's something that they don't teach you in school, so I taught myself. And now I'm going to teach you guys, but not in the way that you think. I pitched for a competition for $100,000 in 2022, and I recorded the entire thing, from making the deals to giving the actual pitch itself. And it was all in an exact Shark Tank style, so why not keep the style going? I'm going to break down my entire pitch, tell you exactly what went wrong, what I could have fixed, and how I would have done it different this time. It's all right here, so let's roll it.
Lectra, a conductive electrotherapeutic tape and software rehabilitation platform.
You can already tell I was just like a little bit nervous because I was standing in a room like 150 to 175 people, so it was definitely overwhelming, especially for being my first time pitching. Like, that wasn't a very strong opener. You can see already he doesn't look interested at all. He's looking down, and I mean, I don't know, maybe he doesn't even know what's going on. On the left, the far left is behind me, William Paiva. He runs OLSF Fund. It's a big venture fund. Charles Unger is a scientist, and he runs some pretty reasonable companies as well. Neil Lemois is the head of Cooper Health, so it's like a huge hospital in Philadelphia. And then Pierre DuPont is part of the DuPont family. And a little bit of a throwback to the day before this, I was talking to Pierre, and he had a Wawa pin. And I was like, oh, why do you have a Wawa pin? Apparently, the DuPonts have huge stake in every single Wawa across the United States.
An athlete all of my life, and for the last 5 years, I've been doing...
Another thing, I know I won't stop this much, but don't ever turn your back to the camera. I don't know what he's doing, what I'm doing, but that's like a major no-no. Don't turn, not to the camera, to the audience. Never turn your back to the audience.
Grade into muscle strain in my ankle. Right now, 1 in 4 U.S. adults are affected by muscle pain, joint pain, and muscle stiffness, increased blood flow, and decreased muscle atrophy. And in addition to that is then...
So I keep looking down as well. You definitely shouldn't look down because it makes it seem like, again, you're nervous or you don't know what you're going to say. But there was a TV right there, and it was helping me looking at the slides. But you should be looking up. So I don't like how they have TVs there, actually, but...
Transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation, which is low frequency signals that can help mitigate pain, that the pain signal in your brain to help the body to mitigate the pain. And then
help the body's pain to mitigate pain. Nice. Another big problem that I realized, and I'd pitched in Chicago, Tampa, Daytona, and this was in, I think, Malvern, Pennsylvania, and then I just pitched in Minnesota as well. But the big problem, like the big displacement I had, was like giving a scientific pitch to somebody who wasn't science-based, if that makes sense. So there was a major problem with people understanding what we were doing, because I kept saying stuff like transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation and low frequency TENS, and people are like, what are you talking about? And you'll see later, like Pierre DuPont behind me, like, he's not a science guy, and he says it in here that it probably went completely over his head, which is why you see what happens later in the video.
And we break down the addressable segments of 1.3 million and 8 million respectively, and break those down into target markets. We see 111,000 individuals in rehab. In between 2016 and 2021 alone, there was 393 acquisitions and over $794 billion in strategic volume generated. That's
a lot of value generation for the industry. So investors or whatever the VC owners would be, whoever you're pitching to, like to hear numbers a lot of the time. Like, what's the return on the investment they give you money? Like, past just the individual and the idea, they want to see how much money they can make back. That's like a big thing. So I wanted to add in the $794 billion strategic volume, and I actually took that out because at the time I thought it was significant because it was talking about how much money was available in the industry, but now it's kind of just like a random number that I threw out. So for the time, I think it was a pretty good pitch, but again, this was 10 months ago when I gave this pitch, so it's all right.
The athletes and the trend hoppers and the individuals who are more dedicated to finding that pain quicker.
Finding that pain quicker. Good work, man.
The pain management quicker. And then the next level is generated from 2 to 99 users, which is the rehab centers who purchase refills of the tape monthly and target at the rehab arthritis pain. And I appreciate...
I looked very disinterested. You almost want to play a character when you give a pitch, similar like you're making a YouTube video or like a Instagram video, or even maybe doing a class project. You want to have more emphasis, more enthusiasm, like you're really interested, or it's going to end up happening like this. You see, he's not interested at all.
You guys give the opportunity for me to pitch here today, and my question for everybody else in the room now is, who's ready to help millions of people recover smart?
So I goofed it up there, so I was definitely a little bit nervous, but the actual end of my pitch should be, I appreciate the opportunity you gave me to pitch today and to help millions of people across the world pave their own path to recovery by creating the most effective rehabilitative tool in the world and helping millions to recover smarter, is what I should have said. But you live and you learn.
Can I jump in real quick? Any IP and the combination of these various
He
technologies?
was actually, so throughout this, he's actually very, very nice and very, very smart as well. Like the insight he adds is very good.
Products you have?
Yeah, we're drafting the patent right now. We did our prior art for the last couple of months, and we've been working to submit by the end of 2022.
So I did submit by the end of 2022. We submitted in October of 2022, the final provisional. There was a huge legal battle. We almost went to court with the lawyers. It was a absolute nightmare. They charged me way too much money for a provisional patent, which is kind of like a placeholder. It's almost like a coupon. So you have your patent, it's saved. So if anybody comes in and says, hey, I want to get a coupon in line, but I already have the coupon to stand in the line, then they can't get in front of me. So we're just going to submit the entire patent now in October of this year.
Burn rate?
It's like 2,000 right now.
Current burn rate means how much you're going to spend a month.
Doing R&D and the ramp up of the materials needed to kind of scale.
Completely made this
The PowerDot guys, they sold out for 30 million.
PowerDot was one of the competitors we have.
What did they raise?
Personally, I couldn't find it. I looked on Crunchbase, and they're private. They're a private company.
And what's your current revenue right now?
Current revenue? I told you we're in product development.
I guess you haven't started.
Yeah, so we're looking to start the revenue in quarter 1, 2024.
Do you have any pre-sales or?
Yeah, we have an email list of 150 people signed up, ready to buy it when it does come out.
5, 10K.
Okay, so the big thing with a lot of companies at the beginning where it's hard to get funding is because they don't show significant traction. So good ways of combating this are, if you're in the medical device industry like we are, is getting letters of intent. So for example, we had a conversation with the Yankees and we're trying to verbally partner with them. And then we have a letter of intent from a physical therapy office, which means that they said, hey, we'll buy X amount of the tape and the capsules over X amount of period of time. And you do this with a bunch of different physical therapy offices or sports teams. And then it shows traction for investors to come in and say, hey, I'll give you this money to make this happen because I can see that there's people who have a specific demand for this.
I'd love to see you cut that raise to a smaller amount and get to some intermediate objectives.
I like that. That was actually one of the best pieces of advice I've gotten through the entire duration of making the company, because I got it from him and I got it from a couple other people after, which was interesting because usually when multiple people are saying it, it's probably a good idea to listen. I had learned that if you raise all the money up front, it could be helpful, but it also could be very detrimental because if you over raise, it undervalues the company and you end up diluting yourself, which means giving more equity in the long run. So what you would do is raise off of a milestone. So obviously you over raise a little bit just to ensure that there's any extra expenses that you didn't compensate for. Then you can like get done what you need to get done from part A to part B, and then raise when you're closing off part A into part B to part C, and then just keep rinsing and repeating the cycle.
Jake, I want to make you an offer because I really like your opportunity and you need me. We're an investor in a company that's the largest musculoskeletal company in the Southeast America of the United States. It's called MRS Health. And you remind me a lot of myself when I was younger and had hair and was athletic. But number one, despite all this, you remind me of myself. Your valuation's way out of line from my perspective. 2.5 million, no revenue, but here's what I'm gonna do for you. I'm gonna invest the 650K if you'll take my money. I disagree with my other shark here. I think you need more money, not less right now. So I'm gonna give you the 650. My sharks are willing to join me if they want. I want a 10% royalty on every device you sell. I want 50% of the company right now. But I'm willing.
50% and a 10% royalty. Yeah, okay.
My money comes back to me to drop it back down to your 20%. But the royalty's going to chew it down. And once you get my 650 back to me, then I'll drop my ownership back down to 20%.
I think the 10% royalty is a little too high. I feel like it'd be tough for us to scale with 10% royalty.
Okay, so a royalty means every single device that I would sell to an individual, he would get 10% of the money. And the deal he's saying right now is he would get 10% of every single item that's sold until he gets that $650,000 back. Because then if I can't bring the money back, he keeps the 50% and the royalty would still be incurred, but he would still own 50% of the company. So we'd probably sign an agreement over X amount of period of time saying that I'll recoup my money over this period, and if I don't, there's a clawback where he can keep 50% and a royalty for the whole duration of the company, which would screw us over.
So would you be willing to do like a 3% royalty, and I can give you another 2% advisory shares vested over 2 years.
Yeah, the advisory shares, then my partners want it, and I don't like to do that. I don't like to make them richer than they already are. I'll do 5% royalty and 50% ownership until I get my money back and drop you down to 20.
I know, I doubt you'll ever get your money back, so I think.
So you're out?
Well, I'm not
So
sure,
you're out.
I'm not sure you'll make enough on that. I think you gotta give them less money to get somewhere and find a way to get the money back. Not to take it back, but to achieve that.
So do you want to make them an offer, or what do you don't like my deal, or you want to make them an offer?
I think
criticize my deal.
I think you're too optimistic.
Big between
Okay.
each other.
Well, that's why I've been a venture capitalist for 23 years. Consummate optimist.
Are there any offers that are on the table though?
I think he's going cheap on you at the 3%.
You do? So you don't like? Well, what if 5%?
I think you back at the 10%. You're going to take a while to get his money back. He's 2 years out.
Guys, why are you beating me up?
But you know, you always going to need. He's going to need doctors.
He needs me. That's what
He needs you,
right?
doctors.
And he needs doctors.
Yeah.
So
I gotta agree with you, don't go after the consumer.
Yeah.
I think that's just
We're gonna drop
the advertising eyeball.
Yeah,
price is
yeah,
too
we
much.
get it.
do you want do you guys want to make an offer or not?
Yeah,
You just wanna criticize my-
I'd go in on the 650.
There we go, Neil.
Half the equity with 325 at the 5% royalty, and have the proviso that we have to do this in a staged manner, and that 650 goes into the product development and testing in one of the clinics at Cooper, one of the other parts.
That'd be pretty fire. Okay, so right now it's saying that it's $325,000 each between the two of them, and then there'll be a 5% royalty each until they recoup their $325,000, and they still have 50% of the company. So that's too high. We gotta get lower.
Because he's got access to doctors for us that I don't have. So we'll split 350. We'll take 5% royalty. We want 50% of the company now. It drops to 20 when you give us our cash.
So do you think we can do something like
50 down to 20?
We own 50 now.
I think down to 20 once we get our
We'll get our money back.
That's fair.
So you're
Is that okay with
saying,
you?
in failure, you get 30 more percent of a failed company.
Why are you so mad?
Because as an LP,
We're trying to
as an LP in your fund, I know you only got $1 million left to invest. You got a whole bunch of deals. You got to build a portfolio for me with that $1 million. Give it half of it to this guy.
The best I can, you know that. Pierre, for Christ's sake. You're out?
Yeah.
Pierre's out. You take our deal?
So what if we could do something like the 650 debt equity, and I can give you 3% royalty for the whole iteration company.
Okay.
And then
See, I don't know why I said this, because doing a 3% royalty over the entire duration of the company is a lot of money on top of having half of the company's equity. So this was just me being naive at this point, and I'm glad you didn't take it because it would have screwed me over.
25%.
3% royalty forever?
Split, so 1.5% each of split between.
I'd rather have the 5%.
Oh, so 1.5% royalty each.
I'll drop the equity down to 40% on out the gate, and then we'll go back to 20 if you give me my money back.
40% equity on the 5% royalty. You said
When we get our 650 back, we'll drop our equity from 40 to 20. Especially when you get him and me involved.
Yeah.
I mean, Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah.
with the executive girls, would you guys do
Okay, last chance.
35?
Yeah, last chance. 35?
35%?
40. I've already come down to 10. 5, 50. Deal?
That was a pretty good deal. So I talked myself in a pretty good deal. They both put in $325,000, and then they had 40% of the company and 5% royalty, so 2.5% royalty each until they get the $325,000 back, which meant that as soon as I recouped the $650,000 in sales off the 5% royalties that they got, then the equity drops down to 10% each, which honestly was a very good business move by me. No, I appreciate all of you for being here, and if you're interested, check out the lecture website below, and make sure to add me on Snapchat because I post a ton of the day-to-day life stuff on there as well. Thank you for coming to Corporation, the best community generation, and if you guys enjoyed this video, please subscribe, hit the like button, do whatever you can do to stay updated with the channel because we're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. And as you guys know, persistence goes the distance. I'll see you in the next video.